Good morning and welcome back. This is World News coming to you live from Warsaw, and I'm Sadia Strzemska. It is the third and final day of the Antalya Diplomacy Forum, one of the largest diplomatic events in the world. Let's bring in our correspondent Kazimierz Łysiak, who is on the ground and has this report.
The third and final day of the Antalya Diplomacy Forum is here. It is one of the largest diplomatic events in the world, and this is where the sausage is made. Hundreds of state officials and experts alike have gathered here for 3 days to discuss the future of their cooperation and their relations. While you may not hear many groundbreaking statements or deals announced here, be certain that these officials have held many discussions here behind closed doors to decide the future of their relationships. We may hear about them in the future. But of course, the most notable event here was yesterday on Saturday, when Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov were both here in the same building at the same time, which is of course a rare occurrence. They didn't speak with each other. The discussion panels were separate, spaced apart in time and place, so they wouldn't bump into each other. But they took this opportunity to exchange accusations against each other for strikes in Ukraine. Of course, the war still continues. Now, of course, there is also the push from the United States and the Donald Trump administration for an immediate ceasefire in Ukraine. Russia so far is refusing to agree to these terms. Ukraine has agreed. Yesterday, Ukrainian Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha said that the United States shouldn't have taken off the NATO membership off the table, and that Ukraine will not agree to any territorial concessions in any future long-term peace agreement. But of course, Kyiv has agreed to the immediate ceasefire. We are still waiting for Russia to make its decision on that. Today we will also be having the press conference from the Turkish Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan, so be on the lookout for my reports about that. From Antalya Diplomacy Forum, Kazimierz Łysiak, TVP Welt.
In a recent interview for the German newspaper Welt am Sonntag, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte revealed that NATO is increasingly concerned about the possibility of a war being waged in space. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte expressed concerns about Russia potentially using nuclear weapons in space to target satellites, which could cause widespread global chaos. The NATO chief warned that such actions would violate the 1967 Outer Space Treaty. Rutte went on to highlight the growing competition for space influence, which has made space more crowded, dangerous and unpredictable. NATO allies are adapting to these changes by sharing intelligence, establishing national space command centers, and developing smaller, more secure satellites. In his interview, Rutte also emphasized the growing importance of the Arctic region, where China and Russia are militarizing and exploiting new sea routes. An informal meeting of 27 EU finance ministers in Warsaw has come to an end. The discussion, stemming from a volatile situation on the continent, focused on the EU's Commission Rearm Europe scheme, European Defence Mechanism, and the implementation of the SAFE mechanism, allowing for the distribution of loans for defence purposes. Sasha Farbach reports.
The EU has big plans for ramping up defence investment, and Europe's finance ministers gathered in Warsaw to discuss how to pay for it. One major way to help Europe strengthen its defence industry is with the new so-called SAFE instrument, allowing for billions in joint procurement. Warsaw has made this a top priority.
I'd like to underline that the aim of the presidency is to finalize the work on this package urgently. The Rearm Europe plan outlines several ways to finance increased defence spending. One of its key elements is, of course, the SAFE instrument, a loan mechanism of up to 150 billion of joint procurement. As the presidency, we are aiming at swift agreement on the SAFE instrument, preferably already in May.
In response to increasing threats from Russia and uncertainty around the traditional transatlantic partnership, Europe is taking steps to enhance its defense capabilities and autonomy. Brussels' Rearm Europe plan aims to unlock 800 billion euros for defense, promote joint procurement, and provide fiscal flexibility for member states to increase defense spending. The SAFE instrument is designed to support key areas critical to European defense.
This will provide loans to member states to invest in key defense areas like ammunition, missiles, drones, and cybersecurity.
These elements will be crucial in defending NATO's eastern flank, but ministers also emphasize that the threats go beyond the Baltic and the High North. The Atlantic is equally at risk from Russia's aggression.
We have to look to all the borders of Europe. There are threats all over different borders of Europe. Portugal is responsible for a significant part of the western border of Europe in the Atlantic. And we know that even Russia has ships crossing the Atlantic and our sovereign waters, looking for infrastructures like submarine cables. So the defense of Europe has to be holistic, consider all the borders.
Warsaw meeting wrapped up with the 27 EU finance ministers plus representatives from the UK, Norway, Switzerland and key institutions like the European Investment Bank. Discussions also covered the Polish presidency's European Defence Mechanism, which focuses on funding frontline states like the Baltics and Nordics to meet urgent defence needs. Over 2 days, it was clear Europe is poised to ramp up efforts and spending to hit ambitious defence targets in uncertain times. Sasha Farbach, TVP World.
The U.S. Customs and Border Patrol has shared a notice excluding smartphones and other electronic devices from Trump administration's sweeping global tariffs. The move came after U.S. tech companies voiced concerns that the price of electronics could skyrocket, as many of them are made in China. Exemptions, all backdated to April 5th, also include vital components such as semiconductors, solar cells and memory cards. The move was welcomed by the U.S. tech industry after some estimates suggested that the tariffs could triple the price of electronics. Trump said he would share more details regarding the exemptions early next week.
I'll give you that answer on Monday. We'll be very specific on Monday. But we're taking in a lot of money. As a country, we're taking in a lot of money.
April 13th marks the anniversary of the discovery of mass graves of Polish officers and members of the Polish intelligentsia in the village of Katyń, now Western Russia. On this day, Poles commemorate the nearly 22,000 killed at the hands of the NKVD secret police on direct orders of the Soviet authorities, wanting to ensure that those who would oppose communist rule are eliminated. Tens of thousands of members of the Polish elite, including army officers, policemen and civil servants of the Second Polish Republic, were mass executed in the spring of 1940, an atrocity marking a somber and tragic event in Poland's history. Each year, Polish officials commemorate the lives lost in the bloody slaughter. For years, the Soviets managed to avoid responsibility by putting the blame for the Katyń massacre on the Germans. It wasn't until the fall of communism that pointing the finger at those actually responsible became a possibility. In 1990, Mikhail Gorbachev finally admitted that the NKVD was in fact behind the murders. The massacre remains a sore point in Polish-Russian relations to this day. A number of NATO units held a multinational exercise in Croatia. Aimed at bolstering air defense capabilities, Operation Shield involves live-fire exercises and joint target acquisition. Troops from the United States, Croatia, Slovenia, France and the UK participated in the exercise held annually near the Adriatic Sea. Among them was the 173rd Airborne US Army Brigade, deployed in Germany and Italy. Poland took part in the Operation Shield last year, where the Polish army showcased its short-range anti-air capabilities using Piorun missiles and the Pilica very short-range defense system. Protests in Serbia continue into their 6th month, with students gathering in the town of Novi Pazar in the southwest of the country. The protesters arrived on foot or by bicycle, with some traveling over 200 kilometers. The protests were sparked last November when a newly renovated canopy at the Novi Sad railway station collapsed, killing 16. The protests have since grown into a wider movement against the government of President Alexander Vučić. His supporters have organized a counter-demonstration in the Serbian capital, Belgrade. Following several outbreaks of foot and mouth disease in Hungary, Slovakia and Germany, Romania is stepping up its veterinary health protection measures. Romanian animal protection associations have asked the authorities to take urgent additional measures to prevent the disease from spreading across the country.
We've imposed new restrictions. For a couple of weeks, we've had some restrictions on farm entrances. At least at my place, no more uninfected cars, no more people, absolutely nothing. We need to stop the uncontrolled transport of animals. We need to reduce the access from Hungary to Romania of all animal transports, the transport of raw milk, and of course, to start a vaccination strategy. The animal is affected by the appearance of canker sores in the oral cavity or blisters on the soft epithelium, especially in the nipple area. The animal is affected because it cannot eat. The calf or the piglet or the mare cannot suckle. There is also a fulminant evolution in young animals that can die. But in large animals, if the disease is not complicated by other viruses, they survive.
And now on a lighter note, the tradition of preparing decorative and colorful Eastern palms to be blessed in churches on Palm Sunday is long-standing and important in Poland. Just like in the old days, many still celebrate across the country with vibrant processions, often accompanied by secular events such as competitions for the most beautiful or tallest palm. In Gdańsk, an impressive 22-meter-tall Easter palm was created to honor the beloved tradition.
Well, this is a tradition brought from the south, more or less from that region. We are putting up this palm for the 5th time already. The first one was 18.40 meters tall, and today's palm is 22 meters. I think this is our record. That's quite something. And the planes fly low here. We prepare for the palm for about 2 weeks to organize everything and get all the decorations ready. We prepare greenery, green decorations, flowers, and then we put it all up.
The much-anticipated Osaka Expo has officially kicked off under the theme Designing Future Society for Our Lives. The event will last until October 13th. Organizers expect approximately 28 million visitors, with at least 3.5 million coming from abroad. More than 160 countries are participating in the Expo. Poland is among the 40 countries which have been offered an individual pavilion, which has since been listed as one of the top Expo attractions by the New York Times. Jacek Tomczak, the General Commissioner of the Polish section, said that the pavilion is designed to evoke the image of a wave of Polish creativity and innovation, representing the section's motto, Poland, heritage that drives the future. The Polish section will be manned by 48 students from leading Polish universities. Bears in the Polish Tatra Mountains have awakened from their winter hibernation. 2 brown bears were spotted on Saturday evening on a trail leading to a popular summit, Kasprowy Wierch. Bear sightings in the Tatras were first reported in early March, but the cold spell caused by Arctic air made foraging for food difficult for the animals. Now that the temperatures have warmed, the bears are more active and may be drawn to the smell of leftovers coming from homes located near the bear territory. Tatra National Park officials are warning local residents to secure their trash cans and compost piles to prevent bears from entering their property. While brown bears are known not to attack unprovoked, experts urge to avoid abrupt movements upon encountering the animal, especially if it's a mother with cubs. And with this, we conclude our news bulletin. Thank you for watching, and please stay tuned for more.